so. Now, we've been putting this off for a couple weeks, but I want to talk about one of the big influences in your career. Do a little bit of nostalgia here, and that's Ray Stevens. Is it fair to say he was your single biggest influence?
He and Dusty Rhodes.
Now, what made Ray an influence in particular? Why him?
He's the greatest worker I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, expand on that. I like where you're
He's the
going.
greatest worker I've ever seen in my life.
What made him a great worker?
I can't even begin to explain. Bumps, energy. He was an average talker, but in-ring skill. Shawn Michaels and me together were not Ray Stevens.
Wow. That's a heck of a statement.
The stuff he did looked real, and he was just an average interviewer, but whether in the ring, he was a time bomb, man.
Uh, Now, how much and where did you work with Ray Stevens? And as I recall, you two were friends, correct?
Oh, very close. But I didn't meet Ray till his mid-40s.
Yeah, in Minneapolis, right?
Yes. He and Nick were a hell of a tag team.
Oh my God.
With Bobby Heenan, man, they were a hell of a tag team.
I think that's how a lot of people remember Ray. At least that's how I do. I remember him in Bockwinkel. I remember him and Pat Patterson, the Blonde
Yeah.
Bombers.
I only worked with Ray one time, and that's when he came to Charlotte. But it was like, God, I was so thrilled. And man, that's one magic. I mean, you didn't even know he was there. You couldn't feel a thing, but man, it looked so damn good. Oh, you didn't know what to do because he looked like he killed you, but never touched you.
See, I love this conversation because this is you revering somebody the way so many people have revered you.
But I wish I could tell you I was 1/3 of what Ray Stevens was. Never.
Now, when you wrestled him in Charlotte, was it a singles match? What?
Single match in Norfolk, Virginia. I still remember the town. Hampton, Virginia. Hampton Roads.
How long to go? What, and who got over?
20 minutes. He put me over. 30 minutes.
Great match?
Probably not great because Ray was what? Maybe the early 50s then. But
You had to be 50 by then, I think.
have Steve look how old he would have been right now.
Well, he already updated us. Dominic Mysterio is 24. We know that. We'll get to Ray Stevens
Okay. Well,
in just a moment. But yeah, but no, that's great. Did you because Nate? I got to tell you, I've talked to so many people who talk about having wrestled you the same way you're talking about wrestling Ray Stevens. And it just goes to show you how this gets handed down from generation to generation.
we're lucky to be in that. I'm lucky to have been in that consideration.
Now, you drove with Ray Stevens a few times, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
What was that like?
I'm a fucker, a fighter, a wild bull rider, a pretty fair windmill hand. Ray Stevens.
Is that where you learned how to behave on the road from Ray Stevens?
Well, a little bit. Some of what I just learned on my own. He was fun, man. Wow. Holy cow.
Well, what was great about him too is he was only 5'8", but he made you forget that, didn't he?
If he was 5'8", it seemed like he was 6'5" to me.
Yeah, I mean, larger than life. That's the key.
Yeah.
Isn't that the key? Larger than life. No matter what size you are, to be larger than life.
Well, he just came into the room. You knew he was somebody. Put his cowboy hat on, his cowboy gear. He walked in the room. You knew he was somebody. And man, the guys he light up a cigarette like Harley. The guys loved him and respected him, man. Wow.
Now, Steve Kaufman, our incomparable producer who does so much good work, he says Ray was born in 1935, so it'd be 87 now. So you wrestled him when?
I probably wrestled him in like 79 or 80.
So he would have been 45 or 46.
He would have been?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
Hey, let me tell you a story. So I'm in Minneapolis. I'm just learning the business, right? Locker room. And Ray Stevens is in a tag match, and apparently Bily Robinson did something he wasn't supposed to do. You know, some hook and movers like that with Ray. And they came in the locker room when I was watching the match. I didn't know what happened. And Ray went over to his bag, took a 357 out, walked into the fucking other locker room, and put it right in Bily Robinson's face and said, "If you ever fuck with me in the ring again like that, motherfucker, I'll blow your fucking brains out."
did Billy ever fuck with him in the ring again?
No.
I'm guessing no. What was Billy Robinson like? I know he was a legit tough guy, but you hear a lot of bad stories like that.
He took advantage of people. For me, I got along great with Billy. I mean, but breaking me in, I hated him. He was incredibly insensitive, but that made us all better. It just, as far as beating the crap of all of us, that's okay. That was what we went through back in that time frame. But that's the only reason he never became world champion. Vern didn't trust him not to, grab somebody. He was legitimately a real good amateur. I guess they call him a hooker in England, where he could, do submission wrestling and that. So, but you got to remember that kind of bullshit did not work with guys like Harley Race or Ray Stevens. He would never have even tried to hold Harley Race down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that would have never occurred. Ray didn't come across that way, but Ray was that tough back even outside of the ring. Ray was tougher than shit.
Who reminds you of Ray today? Is there anybody?
No, not
Why
even
is
close.
why isn't Ray remembered more, like a Harley Race or somebody like that? I guess he isn't
Because
California.
they don't have enough footage on him. You got to remember, Harley would. I mean, 87 and 77. Like, I think Harley would be 77 now this year, right, or something like that.
I think so, yeah.
That 10-year window is a big gap.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you can still find a lot of film with Harley on YouTube. You really can.
yeah. You can't find it with Ray though. See,
And you know what else helped with Harley too? He wrestled during the WWE,
around the world.
and he wrestled the WWE boom period.
Yeah, and
And that puts a lot of video out there.
all Ray did was wrestle in Minneapolis and San Francisco for his whole career.
Yeah, he was in WWE for a real little bit,
Yeah,
like they all were at that point.
yeah.
What bumps and moves did you take from Ray Stevens? Is there any direct
The upside down. I tried the bombs away, but I could never do it like him. So I didn't want to kill anybody.
But the turnbuckle flip, right?
Yeah,
Boy, that's one of your trademark moves.
yeah. Well, and then Sean took it and did it better.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, Sean, I've got. You guys have to have been in the ring with Shawn Michaels to understand how good he is.
Oh no. I think Sean and I think you and Sean are the top two. I
I
really do.
appreciate that, but I mean, Sean did shit I could never dream of doing. I mean, do I not say I could have done it if I'd wanted to learn when I was younger? But no, Sean just developed into being just a great worker.
You know what I loved about the turnbuckle flip? What you did afterwards. Sometimes you'd hang yourself up. Sometimes you'd run
Yeah.
along the apron to take a bump. One of my favorites was, I forget, there was a Starrcade where they did a scaffold match.
Yeah,
Okay, and you took the turnbuckle flip and you ran along the apron and quote unquote forgot the scaffold was there
yeah,
and bumped off the scaffold.
yeah.
Tremendous. I saw that. I was watching that on pay-per-view nights like everybody else.
I had that planned the whole match.
That was tremendous. I popped so big for that. There's a lot of stuff that I watched back then, a lot that involves you and some other guys too. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember Chi-Town Rumble against Steamboat like it was yesterday.
Um, Chi-Town Rumble like it was yesterday.
Yeah, where Steamboat won the title.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, that was. Well, you think of it is people won't let me stop. Won't let me forget about it. So that's a good thing.
Oh no, I remember like when you guys did the double bump over the top rope,
Yeah,
the finish where I thought for a second Tommy was going to give you back the belt,
yeah,
and he gave it to Steamboat. It was just so much. I remember Brad Muster and Meltzer in the front row applauding.
yeah.
That was just so good. All of it was so good. Now,
Was that Jim Harbaugh was at that match? That's when I met Jim.
who Jim Harbaugh, was he really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he was the Bears quarterback then.
Now, do you think of Ray Stevens as a tag or a single? Because I think of him as the tag, but you know,
Tag.
yeah,
But I never got to see him at his best as a single.
and that was in California.
Yes, I never got to see that. I know he went in and out. He wrestled in the Garden a couple of times. It was for Vince Senior, but I never got to see the matches.
Ray was a high flyer for that era, wasn't he?
Yeah, God, huge.
I mean, people people don't understand that to be the first to attempt.
Ray Stevens took the turnbuckle bump over the top of all over the turnbuckle to the floor.
How come he never did that?
I did one time, and I hit the guardrail and put 13 stitches in my head in St. Louis.
Well,
Re-
that's
re-
enough of that.
wrestling Dory Funk. I was trying to show off. Almost killed myself. I've tried everything once.
Oh, in and out of the ring. I know that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I when is Ashley going to do the turnbuckle flip and the drunk fall? Because she says she can do it,
Oh, she can do the turnbuckle bump better than me already.
but I don't think she's ever done it in a match, has she?
She has.
Has she?
Ashley has. Yes.
She must do some variance on it where I don't connect it then.
She can do it from 2 feet away. She didn't even take a run at it.
What about the drunk fall?
No, she's she's got way too much skill for that. That's as your skills decline.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'd still like to see it. Could
Okay. Better know when it's a Gordon.
oh, I might have been there when you named.
A la Bobby Heenan.
I might have been
Here
there.
it goes. It's gonna do the Gordon.
I might have been there when Bobby named it the Gordon. Why? Could a Ray Stevens make it today? Would he get?
Oh God. Being the main event of WrestleMania between now and then.
Really?
If he walked out in the ring right now with somebody, God, are you kidding me?
Well, don't get me wrong, Nate. I believe in Ray Stevens, but I'm not sure a guy that looks like that gets a chance today.
Oh, I don't know. You forget he might have been 5'9" and that, but he weighed 240. He wasn't small. Oh yeah, absolutely. He obviously he couldn't walk on TV now at be at WrestleMania, but he'd be doing something on the show real quick.
Steve Kaufman says in our little private chat thing here.
He would need a manager.
Steve Kaufman, our great producer, says that he saw Ashley do the drunk fall at the Staples Center last December.
Oh, she did.
So there you go. Well, I'm gonna lecture her the next time we talk. I got to see it too. I don't know this, and forgive me for not. Is Ray in the WWE Hall of Fame?
No.
Should he be?
Well, I know that Patterson lobbied for it forever. In terms of ability, most definitely should be in it.
And I think in terms of accomplishment over the course of his career as well. I mean, not in WWE per se, but he had a great career.
Phenomenal. But he just confined his travel he worked for Barnett a lot in Australia. He worked in California. And he was making $100,000 a year in California in the 50s, working 4 days a week.
And with limited travel too.
And it was less than 1,000-mile drive a week.
Yeah, no, you're right. That makes sense. That was a big thing back in the day, wasn't it? The travel schedule, to go someplace where you could A, make money, but B, not have absurd travel.
Yeah, I mean, the Carolinas was 3,000 miles a week.
3,000 a week?
So do the math. Charlotte, Greenville, back, 200.
How long did it take? How long did it take you to go through a car before you wore a car out?
I'd go 100, put 120,000 miles on a car a year.
Wow. But it was fun
And
too.
I drove. I always wanted to have my car. I could have ridden with somebody else. But very rarely I wanted to ride. I like having being in control of my own destiny.
Now, did anybody drive with you? Did anybody tag along in your car?
Oh, over the years, everybody. When the horsemen were together, we all drove together every night.
But it was always your car.
For the most part, yeah. It was easy. We drank anyway. It didn't matter. Back then wasn't like it is now.
What were you driving?
Cadillacs, and then I went to Mercedes.
That's the nature boy right there, right?
Yes, sir.
By the way, somebody came up with a good line. We talked a few weeks ago about you never got a tattoo. Somebody tweeted at me, Nate, you don't put a bumper sticker on a Bentley.
Why would you?